Actually, several years ago, I was in Denver, Colorado, working on a political campaign, much as I am today. And I noticed that there was some work being done that had nothing to do with the campaign. So I asked about it, and I found out that what it was the Front Range Economic Center, and their work was centered around economic development and trying to bring equity and justice to economic development, particularly when there's public funds involved.
About 6 years ago, 7 years ago, I worked with a lot of other parts of the country, labor leaders from other parts of the country, and I was privy to what they were doing, working with the community, trying to push a progressive agenda in their parts of the world, and thought that we had a strong enough foundation of working with some community partners that might be something that would work for Georgia.
From there, I was given an opportunity to go around and do some site visits at similar organizations and ultimately do the work that actually incorporated Georgia Stand Up.
Our mission with Georgia Stand Up is really to transform communities one by one. Our goal is to create this network of community leaders that can really bond together and create this synergy to change the world.
As the first employee of the organization, I'm so proud to see how far we've come over the last 5 years. It's such an exciting time in the city of Atlanta.
Our goal is to make sure that as we touch each leader in each community, that they leave with more than they came with, that they leave with a sense that they're not working alone, that they're not by themselves, and that someone is here that has their back and that are willing to stand up for them. So whether it's our Policy Institute.
So if you have an area that has been highly fueled by tension over periods of years, or, you know, yes, and it's deep rooted and you don't know where it came from, and now all of these folks are kind of thrown in a room together, and now they have to work together because it's a common goal.
Yes.
Part of it is getting past the personality, yes, and focusing on the purpose.
Our Policy Institute is really about driving that work, about changing the way that leaders work, to say, instead of just being thrust into leadership and trying to do whatever it is you can just to make it happen, this is really about saying, how do we be more strategic? How do we give you the skills you need to be a more successful leader? And how do we begin working together?
We're taking the community labor collaborative and really making it real. So both on policy and action and alliances, but as well as on the street with jobs.
The Beltline was, I think, the signature campaign for Georgia Stand Up. Georgia Stand Up was literally no more than a couple of months old.
The Beltline is a 22-mile track around the city that would unite these 45 neighborhoods. And we thought that that was a wonderful project to really look at what were the community benefits going to be. We began to work with the communities to really organize around those community benefits, and we're happy to say that this year those community benefits actually did get passed. But as a result of that, we formed Georgia Trade Up, which is our workforce development and pre-apprenticeship program, which I'm very proud of. Because we just had students to graduate from that program, and this is a program that is changing and transforming lives.
Whether it's Fort McPherson and the closing of the base there, been able to create a community group and foster and give space to a community group that surrounds the base, you know, to give them the power and I guess the insight to try to create something that's going to benefit the community at large as the base closes and the walls come down.
They have formed their own organization, which is McPherson Action Community Coalition, and they're going to be working over the next few years to really impact change in that Fort McPherson area.
I'm just very proud of the work that Deborah Scott, Melissa Conrad, and everybody at Georgia Stand Up's done. My pride is the fact that, you know, I pulled the trigger on the organization. The truth of the matter, there's a lot of people that worked with me, encouraged me to to start Georgia Stand Up.
We at Georgia Stand Up are fighting for human rights, civil rights, workers' rights, and economic rights for our community. We're fighting for the rights for our communities to stay in place. So whether it's jobs, whether it's housing, whether it's training, whether it's economic development, or just preserving your community, that is our goal.
Georgia Stand Up certainly fights well above its weight. An organization that you might consider lightweight or middleweight is actually fighting and winning in the heavyweight rounds.
We can't have good development in the city and in the region without people. People need to be a part of what happens here in Georgia and in the South. You cannot continue to plan around bricks and mortar without engaging the people.
I do have the ability to make change. That it doesn't matter how young or old we are, what race we are, it doesn't matter how much money that we all have. That if we're really smart and thoughtful about the work that we do and we all work together, that we really do have the impact and the availability and the power to make change for our own neighborhood.
Georgia Stand Up, has a mission to not just create a better Georgia and to create a better South, but we really want to create a better world.